Hello everybody, it's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. In this video, we have a couple updates regarding the Clayton paternity scandal that's rocked Bachelor Nation. Going to share a few things with you, some never-before-heard information, that being the update to my court case, which initially was scheduled for the Monday after Thanksgiving, and then it was rescheduled for the Monday before Christmas, that being yesterday, and now it's being rescheduled for a very interesting time. We're going to get to that in a minute. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at DNeals for stand-up show updates, patreon.com/DaveNeal for behind-the-scenes bonus content, which we will be going live right after this at 10:45 a.m. this morning, and Bachelor Rush Hour, the afternoon podcast, all of your entertainment news, and we try to put some feel-good news stories in there because it can get quite heavy. It's a fun time over there at Bachelor Rush Hour, the afternoon podcast. And don't forget, if you haven't already checked this out, I've got a show in Orange County to end 2023. It's been a wild year, folks. Can you believe that? We were featured in Time Magazine, and now we're being sued for harassment. Life comes at you fast, folks. If you want to support live comedy, Dave Neal and Friends, tickets are $15. If you can't make it to the show and still want to buy a ticket, I'm not going to say no to you. I'll send you a video of my set. How about that? Buy a ticket, get a video of the set, or you can just support on Patreon and you can get a video over there. Either way, I appreciate all of the support as it comes. Let's get into this. Wild new court date. What would you rather have first, the court date or the deleted Reddit thread? Let's do the deleted Reddit thread, and we'll save the court date convo for a second. So this happened a few days ago, and I have to tell you, when these threads get removed, it gets a little scary for me. I get a little scared because it's a lot. It's a lot to think that this story could get quote unquote canceled, scrubbed, removed. Someone asked the question, did this thread on the timeline removal get removed? And it was a thread that discussed the removal of the timeline post from Reddit. So not only did the initial timeline get removed, that being Clayton Echard v. Jane Doe. They use the real name. I don't. I've made it a point to make this a pro-justice account and not an account that's trying to tear someone down. When the time comes, we will gladly share the timelines with all of the names once we're out of the thick of things. But in the meantime, I am being threatened heavily with defamation lawsuits. I am being sued for harassment. There are claims that I've committed revenge porn and wild things. It's actually been revealed to me that the representation that Jane Doe has might not even know that she's allegedly pregnant. And again, she may be pregnant. We just haven't seen the burden of proof, the medical evidence, science, if you will, that has shown me that she is. You might say, oh my gosh, Ben Roethlisberger is the best quarterback of all time. And I might go, no, I don't think so. And you go, yeah, but look at this touchdown pass. I go, I see your evidence. I just don't believe it. I believe Tom Brady's the best quarterback of all time because of all of the Super Bowl rings that he has and of his jawline. You know, I like a guy with dimples. Oh, but Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, I don't believe it. Oh, but here's an ultrasound that I got from my neurologist when I was in grad school, whatever. I don't believe it. Are we going to litigate my lack of belief into lawsuit territory? Yes. Now, the updated lawsuit, injunction against harassment that Jane Doe has on me is February 8th in the Lord's good year of 2024. Why is this important? It's very odd. Now, I don't believe Jane Doe chose that date. I think the initial date options were February 12th or February 19th. It turns out to be some court holiday. I haven't really looked into it. All I know is that the new date for the injunction against harassment is February 8th. My guess is Jane Doe will try to have that date moved because it's only 6 days before she's scheduled or before her due date to give birth to what I hope are two very healthy twins. I've also been told that the gestation period, and again, I don't know these big words, I'm a state school educated guy, but I've been told the gestation period for twins is usually less than 40 weeks, the standard gestation period. Am I saying these words right? For a single fetus. growing in the womb. So could she already have had the babies? Maybe. Will we do a GoFundMe to get a nanny there? I don't know. Will she be able to zoom in? I have no idea. I have no idea the answer to these questions. All I know is this. I'm going to be booking my flights with Southwest Airlines because they have the best flight change and cancellation policy. Why would I have to book my flights? Well, I'm moving. I'm moving on January 10th, folks, or sometime around then. So while I'm planning for, and today going to the, I think 21-week checkup, which we do all of the, because we are having a baby, a very healthy boy is being brewed in my wife's belly. I feel the kicks, folks, the flutters. He's out there punching. I'm like, oh, we got a little fighter in there, maybe a mixed martial artist or something. I don't know. Maybe he's not punching. Maybe he's doing the Irish step dance and he's kicking with his legs. We can't really tell if it's a kick or a punch. Either way, the baby's moving. And I'm like, well, maybe you need to eat a little bit less sriracha, honey. You got all these spices in there. The guy's doing the tango. He likes it. He's got a good palate. Either way, we're going to one of our meetings today with our doctor, which is going to do all of the scans, the very in-depth scans, all the technology that we have in the good year of 2023. I haven't seen any of that from her, and that's why I haven't changed my opinion. She might say, hey, you know what, Dave, I'm going to FaceTime you now, and I'm going to show you the baby kicking, because at this stage, I think you'd actually be able to visibly see the baby kicking, or at least have video of that, or share all of, hold your belly, or all these things that would be so invasive to ask somebody to do. But in this specific instance, you go, well, we've lost trust, right? We've lost trust with Jane Doe that she's going to share proper scientific evidence. It's my belief, which I've shared ad nauseum, that she or somebody in connection with her has altered medical records to show an ultrasound that's just not hers. And I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. I watched the ultrasound video. It's 7 years old. Again, could she have been pregnant for 7 years? Maybe. It's a slow growing baby, okay? No. May 20th is the night that Clayton Echard says he received a blowjob from her. She said they were intimate. She never mentioned that they didn't have sex. And now we're led to believe that she's pregnant. Guys, it just doesn't pass the test. But when you share this timeline, when you share this information, it gets removed. Now, is the story about Jane Doe being the victim of cyber harassing available online? Yes. Has it been removed? No. Is the comment section closed so nobody can rebut her story if they stumble upon it? Yes. Am I made to look like a monster in that story? Absolutely. Do I lose sleep at night? Not an iota of sleep over that, because I know it's not true. Now, it doesn't mean it's not damaging to me or my brand. If there's a chance, like imagine if tomorrow I was cast on Saturday Night Live, they're going to find that article and say, oh my gosh, Dave is a monster. So it's never good that those things exist. I'm not trying to draw too much attention to it right now. It's my guess, it's my opinion, when this thing's all said and done, when Clayton's proof of non-paternity comes back, when she's done playing dodgeball with science and evidence, dodgeball that she hasn't been too good at. She is elusive in some ways. She's got some mobility as far as the evidential dodgeball. I don't know if that's a real term. I'm calling it evidential dodgeball. But either way, the law offices of Jane and Doe have been extremely litigious. So there's your update. Also, after yesterday's 50-minute long video, I received notice from my legal representation of a final notice of impending lawsuit for defamation, false light, invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Now, I don't want to sound like, some boomer yelling, get off my lawn. No offense, boomers out there. You have lovely lawns. Sure, us millennials all live in stacked up apartments because, you messed with the housing. Okay, the point, to get upset here, it's not about you. I don't want to get triggered by the lead paint poisoning we've got here. But, you can't claim invasion of privacy when you've made all of this story public. You can't have both your cake and eat it too. You can't. It's not healthy, right? So you go to the Sun. For whatever reason, you give them all of this information about you being a TEDx speaker, which, by the way, my left scrotum could become a TEDx speaker, okay? You know what I mean? No offense to the wildly professional world of TEDx talks, but I'm pretty sure I could pull someone off the street and give them, okay, I digress here, folks. The point is, you can't do all that, be a public speaker, and then when this story comes out with holes the size of Swiss cheese, expect people to not cover it. Now, the reason why it seems a lot of people aren't covering this may be in part politically motivated. Now, I don't mean because we've got any sort of, there's no political reasons within the story, but, people are a little afraid, in my opinion, to cover a story where a woman is lying, very obviously so, about a pregnancy. Again, my opinions is that she's not telling the truth based on the evidence that I've seen. I feel like Us Weekly, TV show Ace, all these other, sort of like blah websites that just want to cover like who wore it best. They don't want to get into this nonsense. They don't have the legal bandwidth to cover this. It will take somebody brave who's willing to look at a story that doesn't have to be based on gender. And I've said this multiple times because there are dozens, hundreds, thousands of stories where someone faked a pregnancy. I've said this multiple times. If men got pregnant, if we flip the genders around, if men got pregnant, there is a segment of men that would fake pregnancy to keep the woman around. It would work that way. So I don't blame genders here, just a subsegment of a population. Just like a subsegment of a population will have will be a sociopath or a psychopath, right? Those are clinical terms. They exist. A subsegment will use something they can against the other person. We've seen that happen here, according to the emails. Clayton, if you don't respond tonight, I'm having the baby. What in the hell are we talking about? So for me to look at those emails that are public, that are exhibits in a public court case, for me to look at those, and again, mind you, also redacting all of her personal information, which is trust me when I say this, a courtesy I'm doing to Jane Doe. We could unveil the Photoshop and show all the names, and maybe at some point we will. But my efforts to not intentionally inflict emotional distress are my efforts to protect her name, to say, you know what? I don't believe you, but it's not about you, Jane Doe. It's about Clayton Echard, who more so than not believing you, I believe him. So you don't have to have one without the other, right? It's not necessarily that I don't believe her, which I don't. It's more that I do believe Clayton Echard. And until he proves me wrong, I'm on that side. That's the side I've chosen. I went into this going, oh boy, doesn't look too good for him. And I'm leaving it right now with the current information I have and my ability to critically think. I'm looking at it right now saying, I believe Clayton Echard is telling the truth. And I'm all about this subreddit that's promoting justice for Clayton. The previous subreddits that were called Jane Doe's name have been deleted, and I understand that. The internet's a dangerous place. A lot of people have said, oh, they're so toxic over there at this place or at that place. And I say, look, I hear you. The segment of people that are willing to comment online are usually the polarizing people. There is a majority of people watching this case, and I'm talking lawyers in every state in this country and lawyers abroad that have contacted me that are fascinated that it's been allowed to go on this far. But after yesterday, and after the hundreds of pages, that one document we read yesterday was 77 pages long. After we read all of those pages of documents, publicly available emails that just show us for the first time what happened, what do we get? Another threat of a lawsuit of defamation. And what's so interesting about those emails, and we'll end on this, what's so interesting about those emails is that she had, and remember this, she had no problem clipping out portions of his responses and copying and pasting them together like a goddamn ransom note. She had no problem taking his words out of context to make him look like the monster. And yet when I just air out words she actually said in orders she actually put them, we're the bad guy. My legal fund still exists. I thank you all for your donations. They are being well applied for my mental health and sanity as I let my lawyer deal with all of this public content we've been sharing. Link in the comment section if you haven't yet and want to put a little bit of a donation into Dave Neal's legal fund stocking. I appreciate it more than you could imagine. More updates come in after this. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. We're going to continue talking. Bye, everybody.